Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Cancer March 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off, as far as March goes, the Sun will be in Pisces from the 1st until the 20th. So the 9th house is will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be a very strong concentration of power, attention, and focus put into compassion, altruism, idealism, perhaps in matters with in-laws and grandchildren if applicable. This could be about perhaps idealism, strong concentration of energy and idealism on philosophical thinking. It could be at the same time, keep in mind that Pisces energy can sometimes be confounding and confusing. So this could be dealing with a lot of perhaps strong chaos, perhaps in matters with in-laws, grandchildren. It could be in perhaps even in maybe matters with long distance traveling. Perhaps in some cases it could be the law, and especially if this is making a lot of adverse aspects to points in your natal chart. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, as far as March goes, the Sun will be in Aries from the 20th until the 31st. So the 10th house as well be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, well, this could be a lot of, you could say, attention, focus, concentration of power, perhaps put into a lot of assertive and aggressive energy in matters with career and reputation, public image, attaining notoriety, public acclaim. This could be also about a lot of extemporaneous and spontaneous energy perhaps into those matters. And it could be at the same time, keep in mind that Aries could often be about combative energy, and in some cases, especially if this is making a number of adverse aspects to points in your natal chart, it could be where you might be seen as more of a provocateur. And keep in mind that is the public image, so you want to be careful of not maybe attain some image of being somebody that might be someone that's one that's provoking others or an instigator in this case. But it could be this could still be a very good period, excuse me, for showing really a lot of courage at this time and putting a lot of that attention and focus and concentration of energy into using that courage in 10th house matters, such as doing things with the reputation, whether it might be defending it, or it could just be in just career matters in general, and even in matters with the dominant parent, which is often the father, such as making a stand for that person. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, the full moon we'll have a full moon in Virgo on March 1st. So the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer might become full and tired, so to speak, perhaps of judgmental, critical, and even pedantic siblings and or neighbors, if applicable. This could also be a completion or culmination of an analytical writing. It could be something where maybe something with the vehicle that had a lot of analysis and all kinds of tests on it may be complete at this time. Really, another thing too is that really it could be too as well that you look at the 3rd house, and that is also the early education. So it could be maybe a tiring, perhaps getting tired and really exasperated once and for all. Perhaps it's someone that was connected with your early education that could have been somewhat judgmental, pedantic, and very critical as well, and you let the person really know about it and unleashing very powerful emotions at this time. It could also be the end of some kind of health project that might be or something service related that was done perhaps in your neighborhood, or could have been done where maybe you collaborated with siblings with. So anyway, Next thing up, the new moon will be in Pisces on March 17th. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be perhaps the beginning of a new college course, perhaps, or university. It could be something Pisces related, such as something with the metaphysical, which can include astrology. Could be something with chemistry, even something with the feet, or oceanography, something pharmaceutical work, something that could be Pisces related at this time. And I don't know if astrology is at universities, but it could be just something with higher learning that may or may not be at a college university. But anyway, it also could be a period where you maybe begin kind of renew a relationship with an in-law or a grandchild, so to speak, with more idealism, compassion, and really overlooking one's transgressions in the process. So, and also, I mean, Pisces energy is really could be about, I would say, not just idealism, but philanthropy as well. It could be about a new period where maybe you decide where you embark on some long journey where you might help those that are less fortunate than others, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, the homeless, and the hungry, for example. Anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Pisces as far as March goes from the 1st until the 6th. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer at this time. So for Cancer at this time, this could be perhaps about more idealistic thinking connected with publishing, in-laws, grandchildren, perhaps even higher education. But it could be more where Cancer might be fantasizing more about long-distance journeys and traveling abroad than usual. And the thing, too, about this as well, you're talking about Pisces and Mercury energy. It could be more ambiguous and cryptic than usual. So conversations you have perhaps with people connected with it could be the law, it could be grandchildren, in-laws if applicable, people you meet during foreign traveling abroad, I should say, or people even at the college you may be going to. If you're going to one, you might, these conversations may be a little bit more ambiguous and cryptic and a little bit harder to maybe gauge than usual at this time, and people might be making more confusing statements in this, those people that are associated with the ninth house at this time than usual. So anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Aries as far as March goes from the 6th until the 31st. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer at this time. So, and also it's going to be retrograde from the 23rd to the 31st as far as March goes. But at this time, you might be more aggressive and assertive and outspoken in your communications, perhaps with the dominant parent, with authority figures, with superiors, and really than usual at this time. And really the communications might be a little bit more acrimonious than usual. But at the same time, you might be thinking more. You might be more about original, pioneering thinking in matters pertaining to your career. You might have been thinking more innovative at this time. And also keep in mind that the Mercury is not just about communication. It could be about short journeys as well. So it might be a little bit more where you're doing a little bit more short journeys connected with the dominant parent, or running quick errands for authority figures, and ones that are very kind of abrupt and have that spontaneous, extemporaneous Aries energy, so to speak. But keep in mind, as far as the communications goes, I stated before, Mercury will be retro as far as March goes from the 23rd to the 31st. So you might be still somewhat abrupt in the communications, but maybe a little bit with more indirect communications, and perhaps some reviewing a little bit more before you say what you're going to say. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Pisces as far as March goes from the 1st until the 6th. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, Cancer needs to be wary of perhaps a deceptive charm coming from in-laws and grandchildren, just maybe being charming, just maybe to try to get something from you at this time. Also remember what's interesting about this, I mean, this is about it could be a love of lethargy and relaxation with these people as well, in-laws and grandchildren if applicable. And also, this could be too about maybe in some cases some unrealistic spending on ninth house matters, such as higher education or long distance journeys or publishing. And a lot of that could depend, of course, on the aspects that this transit would be making. Like say if it's making an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, it could be maybe spending lower amounts than what needed, much lower amounts than what may need to be on these things. But let's say it's making an adverse aspect to Jupiter, the opposite may happen, and it could be more unrealistically spending, but maybe spending more exorbitantly on things that are than what is necessary to be spending. So anyway, well, the next thing up is well, as far as March goes, Venus will be in Aries from the 6th until the 31st. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be a little bit more about aggressive, impulsive, and impetuous spending, perhaps on one's career and public image and maybe notoriety, getting recognition. And also at this time, if Cancer is unattached, he or she may find somebody that might be tied in maybe to their career, introduced to them by a superior or a dominant parent, which is often the father. It could be somebody that might be a sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries, or simply somebody that embodies those Aries-like characteristics. So anyway, and another thing is it could be about the expression of enjoyment, perhaps, of things that are combative. And it could be with somebody with that dominant parent, perhaps, or somebody that figures prominently in your career. It could be a superior, perhaps. So, I mean, those are some things to look at as far as this goes. So, anyway. Next thing up is Mars will be in Sagittarius as far as March goes, from the 1st until the 17th. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, this could be, for Cancer, a little bit more, might be philosophical differences, perhaps, with people in their daily routine. It could be people that they work with at their place of employment, somebody that figures prominently in their health life. It could be somebody that might be that they know well at a health and fitness club, for example. It could be a physician that they deal with frequently. And there also might be more arguments regarding even things connected with sports and religion with people in the areas I just described, connected with the 6th house. And also, this could be a lot of also exuberant and enthusiastic energy put into employment and added into the daily routine, and then being service to others as well. This at the same time, there might be more contentious and acrimonious situations with people at your workplace, people in your daily routine. And they might be, and they might be with a lot of the arguments might be connected with a lot of this veritable truth of Sagittarius energy that speaks the veritable truth, and it could be over Sagittarius-like things such as I stated before, philosophical differences. And also be careful of foolhardy accidents at the workplace at this time, Cancer. So anyway, next thing up is as far as March goes, Mars will be in Capricorn from the 17th until the 31st. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be about where the situation, perhaps with in partnership situations, relationships, even open adversaries, might be more contentious and acrimonious than usual, and they could be very serious arguments as well. And with a relationship situation or partnership, they could be over responsibilities. And the thing about this is too, this is about also where one might put a lot of consistent, disciplined, serious energy into seventh house matters such as negotiation and compromise, and matters pertaining to legal situations if Cancer is involved in any. And this is about showing a lot of raw courage in those areas as well, I believe, at this time. And also, another thing to look at too is that this could really be about really you look at this Mars energy, and there might be more acrimonious situations in general in matters with the partnership, with a business relationship. And the thing too is you might be really, and also keep in mind too that Mars, is it could be about sexual energy, so it could be where you're really expressing yourself more sexually in a very serious, consistent manner, though, with somebody that you're in a relationship with at this time, if applicable. So anyway. Well, the next thing up is Jupiter will still be in Scorpio. So for Cancer, the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Cancer, keep in mind that I've stated this in previous videos that Jupiter, of course, can be paradoxical, though very benign and benevolent. It also could expand energy. And this could be about perhaps increased surreptitious and even nefarious activity, perhaps with children and people that you might be in a love or romantic relationship with. It could be with somebody that figures in maybe a creative endeavor with you, or a hobby that you may share with. So, and the thing too about this as well, on the positive side, this could be perhaps luck that Cancer might generate through a major change or transformation in matters with children, or somebody that they're in a love romantic relationship with at the same time. This could also expand, for example, keep in mind the fifth house is about gambling and speculation, so it could expand obsessive and perhaps compulsive type gambling and things of a speculative nature at this time. So those are some things to be looked at, especially if it's making a lot of negative aspects to points in your natal chart. So anyway, but on another side of this is that Jupiter, as far as March goes, will be retrograde, I believe from the 8th until the 31st. So this could be about perhaps a review of a philosophy, so to speak, on maybe a deep love connection, you have a deep relationship with the child in some cases, or even in some cases, if one is gambling, perhaps even a compulsive, deep compulsive gambling situation, and maybe reviewing the enthusiasm and exuberance that might be associated with this. So anyway. Next thing up is that Saturn will still be in Capricorn. So the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, well, Cancer may experience some restrictions and limitations in relationship, partnership situations, and it might make Cancer feel somewhat melancholy and despondent at this time. Could also be a time where Cancer might wind up, if unattached, might hook up maybe with an older person that could be a prospective or potential significant other or marriage partner. And another thing that this could be about is taking serious responsibility for legalities and legal situations, court situations, perhaps as well for Cancer. And really, at the same time, this could be, and another way this could manifest in some cases, that Cancer might find his or herself taking care of a debilitated significant other, or maybe even somebody that they have a close business partnership with, and it might be something connected with something Capricorn related, such as perhaps something with the knees or the bones. So anyway. Next thing up is Uranus will be in Aries as far as Uranus will still be in Aries, I should say, and the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, well, this could be about Cancer expressing strong ingenuity in their career. Perhaps it could be where Cancer might take up something in their career as far as something Uranus related, such as something with innovation, computers, electronics. It could be something, just something that could be Uranus related. It could be doing work as an electrician, perhaps, or something that could be like something unusual or an esoteric subject such as astrology at this time. And Cancer might be experiencing more fluctuations and a really erratic, sporadic energy in their career matters at this time. And also, it could be some unusual things Cancer may be experiencing in connection with their public image and reputation at this time, and perhaps in one's career. It could be even a dominant parent or an authority figure might be expressing more ingenuity and sometimes even more bizarre behavior than usual, might come up in a real abrupt, spontaneous, like Aries-like fashion. So anyway, next thing up is Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, well, Cancer unfortunately might be dealing with more deceptive, duplicitous in-laws and grandchildren if applicable. They might seem more unclear and nebulous than usual at this time, and also the philosophical outlook might be a little bit more confusing for Cancer than usual. At the same time, Cancer might be taking maybe a college course that might be Neptune related, such as something with photography, chemistry, the metaphysical, which can include astrology, something with pharmaceutical work, doing something connected with illusion and special effects. So those are some things to look at as far as this goes. And in some isolated cases, sadly, this could be where Cancer needs to be careful, because it could show that perhaps an in-law or a grandchild, if applicable, could succumb to some kind of alcohol or drug use at this time, or it could even be from some accidental assimilation of a drug such as radon. So anyway, next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the seventh house is will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, well, this could be about very, perhaps in some cases on the positive end, it could be about the obliteration or destruction of a legal situation or legal fees for, and it could be something, and maybe even of an open adversary at this time, where one, gives up the fight or is defeated in a courtroom situation, for example. Now, at the same time, it could be Cancer needs to be careful over obsessive compulsive behavior with others that they may be in a relationship with, or what they might be experiencing from that some person in a relationship as well, or even in a business partnership scenario. At the same time, and I know a lot of you don't want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, the dreaded D word. In some cases, this could reflect the death of a literal death of somebody that may be a significant other or somebody in a business partnership with. So those are some possibilities as far as this goes. And it could also be more power struggles with open adversaries at this time. It could be with matters over legal issues. And really, in looking at this as well, Pluto is also about transformation as well. So it could be where maybe one makes a major change or transformation in a relationship at this time. So anyway, the next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be, when you have the North Node in transit, can often be about what one has to confront and address. So this could be over perhaps extravagant spending, or maybe having to even confront somebody maybe at a place where they're generating their income, perhaps someone that might be arrogant, domineering, and even overbearing at this time. And it could be too where Cancer might need to look at his or herself and maybe confront themselves over maybe trying to maybe exert some kind of dominance over somebody, over over something that's connected with an exorbitant amount of money, perhaps, which might be which maybe either they may which they may owe, or maybe that the person owes them, or maybe that something that what they're doing is they need to look at themselves in a sense. As another example, say if Cancer is actually showing extreme generosity towards somebody and using that as a way, as maybe some means of control, for example, and showing maybe that negative Leo dominance as an example in the process. This could also be about Cancer where they might need to take strong pride and dignity in what they value, in their self-worth and their self-esteem at this time. And this could also be about where one might have to be somewhat extravagant and really spend a little bit more money, perhaps to maybe make money or accumulate the possessions that they want to have. So anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn. So this 7th house is well be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be, in some cases, it could be a revelation or unveiling of somebody that might be a significant other, or it could be an open adversary, or someone they have a business partnership with that might be showing strong tyrannical, ruthless, over ambitious qualities. This could also be something where Cancer kind of gets its let out of the bag, so to speak, on Cancer, but not necessarily deliberately, where maybe they're involved in some depressing or limited or restricted limitation in their relationship, and something that's causing them a lot of despondency and making them feel very melancholy, that comes out of the bag, but they didn't really want it to be revealed. This and really, at the same time, keep in mind that the Black Moon Lilith could often be about the revelation of a formidable adversary, and perhaps it winds up being somebody that could be the significant other in some cases, or sometimes even a business partner, someone they're in a business partnership with, or somebody that they've been doing a lot of negotiations with. And it could be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or somebody that simply embodies those characteristics. And last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Cancer. So at this time for Cancer, this could be where Cancer might experience very strong emotional wounds, perhaps connected with maybe ambivalence and confusion over their higher education. It could be over, in some cases, deceptive and duplicitous in-laws and grandchildren, even being victimized in some isolated cases, perhaps by something that maybe was published that may have been fallacious. And Cancer might be dealing with some emotional suffering connected with unrealistic philosophies, or it could be something connected with religion where they're showing strong confusion and ambivalence, or just something that might not be realistic. It could be, in some cases, from something where they've suffered from a false prophet, that more psychic, where they were duped out of money, for example. But and also in some isolated cases, this could be about Cancer dealing with maybe somebody that maybe they meet traveling abroad that they had to deal with, or maybe an in-law or grandchild in some cases that might be dealing with some drug or alcohol issue, or even or really, I mean, which is a possibility that might be causing them some emotional wounds and suffering. But keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer, so in these areas where Cancer may be suffering a little bit at this time, they might be able to actually help others dealing with comparable issues and situations, in doing so with that Pisces-like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Cancer March 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time where I am going to be giving you my take on the March 1st, 2018 full moon in Virgo. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.